Welcome back, everybody. This is part two of the first impressions, so I guess this might be second impressions of Build 14 of the Dead Linger. So the last episode we talked about some of the new, like maybe the shaders that haven't really changed the textures, but the way that they deliver the textures to us, the game just looks so much nicer. Trees are great. We still have some spawning issues of tree placement, the world generation, but it is tremendously better than what it has been. Some other things I wanted to talk about, just general performance. I'm going to have to say that in my older videos, I haven't had too much trouble. Like when I first started playing in Build 12, I used to have a lot of problems with the world refresh. You know, I would either drop out and then I try to get back into the game and my save game was corrupt. So myself, like a lot of folks, had a lot of performance issues. Build 13 came out and those performance issues pretty much went away. As long as I play the game in windowed mode, the game runs really, really well for me. Build 13 was no exception. A lot of people were asking me, how do you get the game to run so good? And I guess I was lucky. World refresh would only take a couple seconds. I rarely, if ever, had stuttering and frame loss and things like that. It ran really, really well. And I have to say that with Build 14, I have really not noticed a performance improvement. It runs about the same. Mostly. If anything, I now have performance issues. Now I'm talking about the game. Performance issues. I can be running around and I will hit moments of where the game stutters. It doesn't do a world refresh, but it hits like a really bad frame rate stutter. Not quite sure how else to explain that. And I'm just going to run for a while and we're going to see if that pops up, if the world refresh or just kind of the stutter. But it's not bad, and if I just keep running through it, it eventually kind of sorts itself out and then I can keep playing. You know, hey, if I'm lucky, I won't have anything. Now the world refresh, when that okay, here comes a stutter. Oh, that was a short one. Now when I do hit the world refresh, again, it goes quick. It's only about a second or so. Now what they were saying is some of that stuttering I'm experiencing is something that they're aware of. Like that was in the patch notes. And in fact, when I went to look at the Devlinger blog, oh, just stuttered just a tad, it said they're working on a hot fix. I haven't been this direction. That looks so cool. There's some of the goofy roads. Well, gee, call me a liar, but that didn't stutter out much at all. Where do I get down to that road? See, that was something else they talked about, the road generation. That like you rarely find roads that don't go anywhere. Well, technically, that does match up, if not perfectly. But it was just that when I first popped in, I was finding dead ends and roads that didn't go anywhere, and I was like, oh man, this didn't get any better. But actually up in this area, it's not too bad. It hasn't stuttered or needed to do a world refresh. So just performance-wise, there are a couple issues, but they're already aware of it, and they're already working on a 14A hotfix to address some things. So that's cool. I'm just running around because I'm trying to see if I can remember the road that goes out to my cabin. And that's important because if I can't remember where the road to my cabin went, I know it had nothing. It wasn't on this side. It was on the business district side. But one thing they did was, look, they got different, oh, I'm very hungry. I didn't eat. I should have exited, but I didn't eat. They do have some different trash cans. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah, so you get the occasional stutter. There's a new trash can. There's a trash can. I have to admit, trash cans, mail posts, and things like that, mailboxes, they are closer to the roads. Just ever so slightly looks more realistic. What would be nice, though, I figure, depending on how far into the apocalypse you are, some of this stuff, I'm going to steal a bike. Some of this stuff should be tilted over. Like, I don't think this far into the life cycle of the aftermath, I honestly think some of this stuff would have been blown over by now. Let's take a Bigfoot. Oh, yeah, you're close enough. Bonk. Come on. Alright. Pedal, pedal, pedal. think I'm gonna find it. I think it's back this way. Here we go. Maybe. Anyway, so yeah, I can get around a lot faster if I just use this. There should have been a road out here somewhere. You know what? I'm gonna try that road. Oh, my pedaling did stop for a second. Hold on, did my... Oh. My stamina. I don't think I have unlimited stamina on the bicycle. But I think that's the road out I need. So we're going to pass through some trees. Here's something, though. Talking about trees. You used to get the really warbly fisheye effect. Well, not fisheye, but like... hard to describe. The trees were super, super broke. And I just slowed down from sprinting. That might not have been my road. But the trees now are tremendously better. They don't have the weird storybook pop-up effect. They actually look pretty decent. I don't think that was my road. Yeah, nope. Because I did not do that. Can I go back? Oops. Can I pedal up the hill? Oh, what did I do? I broke it. Come on, get up the hill. Okay, I broke the bike. Dang it. Yeah. Oh, wait. There's a road. I think this is a lost cause. I don't think I'm going to find my cabin. I'd have to leave. Alright, so here's the thing with the trees. They do look a lot nicer. I'm going to take my hat off because it will help to demonstrate some things I found here. Right now, when I move the camera, everything looks pretty good. I mean, hard to describe what I mean by pretty good. One thing that I had to do with the game is the sun's already going down. Man, I wasted a whole day of light just chit-chatting. But here's something. The field of view. The trees used to be all wonky. And when I first popped into the game, the trees were acting wonky, but then a lot of things were acting wonky. It had like this weird fish eye effect. And that's because there's a field of view setting now. And I don't know if it was there before, but it's here now. And the field of view for me was set to... right there. It was set to 90. And it pulls your camera back really far. Where'd you come from? I should have picked up a pistol. I do better with a pistol. Ow. Now here's the thing with the field of view. Okay, when I came in, the default was 90. And it gives a really weird fisheye effect. Things at the side of your screen start to stretch as you rotate your camera. It looks so freaking weird. And it gives me a headache. And this was the default. And I really thought, how could this be? And like when I turn, because of that stretching effect, it almost looks like things at the edge of your vision zoom in. Like that's how I was able to kind of know that there was a city here, because from my cabin, when I turned, I got this pseudo zoom effect because of that field of vision fisheye effect. And it's really odd. I changed my field of view to 75 and I had it a little bit, but honestly, for me personally, I have to put the field of view down to 60. Now I know when I was playing Battlefield, lots of folks said they needed a field of view of 90 just to kind of feel like they had a good bird's eye view of the world. But for me, 60. And I think when I had the Call of Duty Ghosts, it was stuck on a 30. Let me see here. Graphics. I think that's the thing. That is set for a 30. Okay, 50 is the lowest I can get here. Now, some people say that's like super zoomed in on stuff, but you don't get any of that warbling or fisheye effect. And yeah, my rifle's like right there, but I can zoom. I don't really know if it does much for third. I think it did. Third person, you're kind of much closer. But to be honest, just for visual, not giving myself a headache and motion sickness, for me, coming into like the 60, I'll even take this 50. This field of view of 50 gets rid of that warbliness completely for me. So that was one thing. If you have not played with your field of view and build 14 looks kind of wonky, you might want to try that. Change your field of view. I'm going to try this 50 because to me that works. I don't get the odd zoom when I hit things on the edge of my screen. This is playable for this game. I mean, this isn't like a hardcore PvP, you know. So I think I could deal with a 50. Well, to each their own. That's all I'm going to say. To each their own. So with that in mind, since I have here the little house, I'm going to see if it's got any boards and lumber out for me. Usually when you see these partially built homes, they have like a stockpile of wood. I'm not seeing it. So cool. What we're going to do, we're going to go out and chop some wood. I got a few minutes before the sun comes back up. So let's talk about when you enter your game. When you come in, you start with a hammer and a hatchet. Now if you die, you lose that hammer and hatchet and it's on your corpse and you gotta go retrieve your corpse. But as far as if you spawn into a new world and get yourself a new world seed, you get a hammer and a hatchet. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I kind of preferred when you started with absolutely nothing. But you know, this is a person that has survived through some sort of apocalypse, so it's not unrealistic to think that they might have had a hammer and a hatchet. You know, most survivalist shows you watch, they have a hammer or a hatchet. Hatchet usually, something to cut with, defend themselves. So here's my hatchet. And the trees, so we'll go ahead. We talked about trees on the part 1 first impressions. And when you do chop them, they fall straight down. My son still hates that. He just thinks that's terrible looking. So I'm going to grab up some wood. Alright. This is important because we're going to talk about barricading. That's right. Barricading. I didn't mention it last time in part 1. If anybody has watched the series for any amount of time, like every single play I do or review or whatever I do with the game, barricading is number 1 on my list of complaints. And for a while now, that is something they said they've been working on. So I'm going to put my hammer up. I'm going to keep that rifle in case I have to switch weapon sets, but let's make us some 2x4s. Give me 1 minute here. My multitasking is not the best. Leave that there. And now let's talk about... I still hate that. There. See, it's like weird. If I put it on the right-hand side of something, the thing on the left gets picked up, but if I put it on the left-hand side of something, it stays down. So sometimes I forget which side to put it on. I don't know if they know that as a bug, but anyway, let's craft that plywood sheet. Oh. Hold on. My flashlight's dying. So let's just talk for a minute while my battery recharges on the flashlight. Alright, so let's talk about the barricading. So anyway, been reading now for a while, made some comments. The developers have made some comments that barricading obviously is something they want fixed. And they've tried to put in some fixes to barricading. Now, specifically the problem with barricading, if you're new to this, and this is your first time hearing anybody talk about barricading, one of the things that barricading did in build, at least in build 12.13, I think in build 10 forward, when they swapped from their old game engine to the Unity engine, barricading broke. In that if you hammer something, because you have freeform building, oh trust me, I can go on and complain about that all day too. But with their freeform barricading, you can rotate these items however you want and then place them wherever. Let's find a spot here and hammer it in. I mean, it gives you a virtually unlimited possibilities for construction. I can take an existing structure and hammer things to windows and doorways. I can take the frameworks of a partially built structure and do the same thing. I can create big plywood sheets, small plywood sheets, 2x4s, and just hammer them into place. They said chairs are hammerable. I haven't tried that yet, so you can like barricade a door by putting a chair in front of it. But here's the thing. In the past, what happens is these things would float up. So like I have it hammered here, but if I go out a certain distance or save the game and come back, the item in place or in question would kind of float up a little bit. And eventually it just continues to float up. So it made barricading virtually useless, because no matter what you did, whatever structure you put together would not stay that way. And in a persistent world where barricading is one of the big features, especially free-form barricading, where if you were clever enough, you could make free-standing structures, that would be an ideal dream. But you can't. And this is something that they actually put back in an earlier build, like build 7 or 8 or something like that. So the concept of barricading has been in here for a while, but it's also been broken for a while. And on one of the dev notes I was looking through, they mentioned that hopefully a bug with barricading was fixed. So I was really looking forward to this. So when I first popped into the game, and the first place that I found was my cabin, I made myself a small plywood sheet and positioned it in the cabin where I could jump on it and then jump into the attic. And then I quit the game, and then I came back, went back to my cabin and tried to jump on the plywood sheet, and it didn't work. It had floated up just a little bit. You couldn't tell just by looking at it right away that it had floated up, but to me it was like, something looks off on that. And sure enough, I got close enough to it and then tried to jump on it, and it had shifted up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run. Let me swap my rifle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can go far enough away, because see, that was one of the bugs. If you went far enough away from it and came back, it would float up. Now I haven't exited the game and come back in, but I'm probably going to do both here. I'm going to run over here. Let's get some distance. I'll exit the game, come back in, and then we'll take a look and see if that barricade is shifted. If I'm lucky, that was like a freak thing. Like maybe the barricading breaks one time in a million. And maybe that was my one in a million shot. Because really, I didn't even leave the cabin. Like I was in the cabin, exited the game, came back to the cabin, and my barricading was screwed up. So I'm giving myself some distance. I'm going to see. We're going to come all the way over here to the end of the Lelands. I was going to see if I could trigger a world refresh. But here's one thing I will say. I get world refresh a lot less often than I have in the past. And like I said, I didn't get the stuttering like I did yesterday. So, I mean, it's already working better than it was yesterday. So who knows? Maybe I won't get the shift. And this is cool. See, here comes the sun. Turn my flashlight off. The lighting. Oh my gosh. That's the sun filtering through the trees. Like I said, the environment is so much better. All right, I'm pretty far. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to exit the game. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to click exit, close game. I'm going to pop back in. I know this is probably not going to record anything for a second here. I'm waiting for the game to exit out. It's not even exiting. Come on, game, don't make a liar out of me. Okay. I think it ended. I think it's over with. Alright. Okay, you don't see anything right now, so now we're going to pop back into the dead Linger. And then I'm going to run back, so I got myself a little bit of distance, exited the game. I'm coming back into the game, and then we'll head all the way back to my partially built construction, and we're going to see if there's been any shifting of the plywood. And if it didn't shift, I'll be happy, because then I can go ahead and start barricading. Because all that I really wanted to do before was find a location and barricade it. And I kind of gave up on that after a while, because every time I barricaded something, it shifted and it just wasn't fun. But if barricading is fixed, then that will give the game some longevity that it sorely, sorely needs. Yes, it's alpha testing. I get that. Trust me. I've been I say broadcast, but I've put so many videos of this game up that I'm a big supporter of it. But there's still some fundamental things that need to get fixed just for the alpha to be worth playing. I know you're going to have people say, well, look at, like DayZ or something. That's been an alpha with broken features forever. Get over yourself, Eddie. Well, I understand. That's a fair assessment. Let's see. I don't think it picked up recording again. Let me hop back into the game. I might actually stop recording and make a part 3. Let me see if this picks up though. Okay, it's popping in. It loads quicker. I'll say that. Pops back in a lot quicker than it has in the past. Let me just see if this is actually recording. Okay, I'm back in the game. No, it didn't pick up. I was hoping I could exit the game. Let me try this real quick. Alright, hold on. Ta-da! Okay, return to game. Oh, I just shot. Okay, so here we go. Sorry I went blank for a little bit. That was intentional. Okay, I'm going to come back to my partially built construction. We'll see if the plywood is shifted. Now, just some other observations. It seems that the little town areas are a lot more spread out than they were before. Because, like I said, the first time I popped into the game, it took me, I think I probably took a good 20 minutes, honestly. Cross my heart. It took like 20 minutes of just following roads before I found the cabin and this spot. So the world definitely seems, it feels bigger. Now I remember before you guys could watch me run and it felt like it took me 20 minutes to find a new place. But I mean, it really felt desolate this time into the game, which could be a good thing, especially if you start having like a PvP element. The world is so huge, there could be a lot of people on here, and even if I was playing a multiplayer server and there was like maybe 2 people, I could probably avoid people. Pick a direction and run and run and run. And if somebody came into the server, they probably could never find you. And if they found you and shot you, then they're just a real jerk. To go to all that trouble to find you and shoot you, that just means they're a jerk. Alright? Because this is not a PvP centered game. PvP's in it, but that's really not the focus. So, let's see. It's on this side. So this will tell me. And there it is. Floated up. So whatever it was they did to fix barricading on their side, to where they said it looks like it's fixed, it's not fixed on my side. So that sucks. So here's the thing, my dilemma. I'll probably go ahead and put out some videos because we'll explore, see all the new shinies, find the prison, see how the world looks. So we're going to turn this into an exploration series for a little bit, because as it currently stands, no base building, no real need to. The other thing I got to test is just item duplication. Let me see what I got in my backpack. Let's see what I can drop here. Drop the meat. Won't drop my hatchet. I need that. We'll drop this. I don't know if the wood ever duplicated. Let me back up a little bit. Let's drop a hat. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a hat duplicate, but you never know. I'll drop some matches. Oh, you might be saying, Eddie, how come you're dropping that on the road? That used to be kind of a problem, is things would fall through the roads, but they said that's fixed. So I have every confidence to test it out that these things may or may not duplicate, and they won't fall through the world. So that's something I'm checking. So there we go. Now, see, me moving away may not have had any bearing on the barricade shifting. Could have just been the simple act of logging out and logging back into your game is what broke it. Maybe the way I exited the game, maybe because I'm in windowed screen and not full screen. I mean, there's a million things that could possibly affect the fact that barricading is still broke for me. And it could be the way that I play. I play windowed, and when I exit the game, I don't always go to the settings and hit exit, because it used to be a bug where if you did that and you came back, your save game was corrupt. So if you would exit the game by right-clicking it on your taskbar and then telling it to close program, that actually kept my games from ever getting corrupt. So maybe it's in how I save the game, because it's a local save. It's not saved on someone's server. So maybe multiplayer, it's not broke. It's just, I can't tell, except all I know is barricading is still broke. Item duplication, we'll find out maybe, see how bad items duplicate. We will run into the world one of these days. We'll have a conversation. We'll run out to the world. We'll see if we can find the farms, because so far I've only found, like I said, just this city. I haven't found farms. I want to see the new barn. So I want to also see if you get the exploding bales of hay still. So yeah, big focus on this though was the graphics, and they have succeeded. The game is incredibly better looking. Lighting seems tremendously better. The sky and the clouds are much prettier. I mean, it's really, really nice. But the few things that I said are still fundamentally broke. Barricading, unconfirmed duplicating items, and your character status bars for hunger and disease that reset when you exit and come back in. Yeah, see, my hunger reset completely, and it's just been down since I've been in the game. So the things that I say still prevent this from being a functioning game, even for alpha, are still there. But at least it looks a lot prettier. So hopefully we'll find a barn and a prison at some point, and we can see how those things generate into the terrain. Because we used to find some really goofy layouts for prisons where you could just walk completely under a prison cell and just hop up and steal the items because they were floating on an invisible floor. Could you see it from the bottom? I haven't seen any of that here, but definitely a lot more things to find. But those are my two-part first impressions of Build 14. I'm disappointed, but only because the few things that are important to me are still not working. That doesn't mean they're not important to the developers, but following their roadmap, they're sticking to it, which is a good thing, because while I wait for the things that I feel important to be fixed, at least the game looks nice. And as they put in some hot fixes, the performance will start to improve as well. So before we leave, I know people really like to see blood. I think it's great. I have to aim because I can't really hit where the darn out here. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Wait, no. Get the hatchet. Okay, check it out. Here comes the blood. Oh. Look, you can see the little blood. Oh, if you hit him just right, you can see the blood. Look at that. Not always, maybe, but... Oh, you gotta see it a few times. You gotta see the blood fly. So now you got the blood particles. So, all in all, a good build. I'm waiting on some hot fixes. So please, guys, if ever you watch... Oh, here comes that stutter. Oh, no, that was so much quick. But, you know, Zag. You go by Zag on the forum. But Jeff Keen, Richard Keen, the other guy named Chaos that sometimes is mentioned on Twitter, Jenny. Good job, Jenny. But if any of you guys can see this and you thought maybe barricading was fixed, I haven't even gone onto the forums to see if this was something people were complaining about, but hopefully this gave you a good example. Barricading, everything still floats up. So please fix barricading for me. Alright guys, love you all in a work safe way. And, you know, we'll get back to posting some more videos. So I don't know if we'll hit the daily like I was doing for a while, the daily. It might be a few a week, but definitely want to start getting back into the the swing of things, because now that build 14 is in and we pretty much have seen it, we can start speculating and talking about build 15, because they've already mentioned it's okay to start speculating. They like my words. So anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a good